Is that what you were looking at? Well, there's one taking the last year. That's what I'm hoping I'll email from those. I'm not controlling this, so I'm on the community centre. We spoke about it. And I'm trying to give you messages. I was hoping you could.
Right, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so welcome to Hexham Town Council.
I'm sorry, I make your address.
So welcome to Hexham Town Council under the 13th of March 2023. So we start off, so our first, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a presentation first. So I'm going to invite the Hexham Tyndale Lions, and we have Mr. Ian Cave and Jonathan Hill, who are going to give us a presentation on all the great work that the Tyndale Lions perform. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Councillor Suzanne, for inviting us, and thank you, everybody else, for endorsing that invitation. I personally have been at the Lions since 2006. The question I'm going to pose now that we often get asked is, who are the Lions? Where are they? And the glib answer is, lions are big creatures with claws and manes. But in truth, the Lions are an international foundation. They were founded in 1917 by an American from Chicago who was called Melvin Jones, a business leader, who wondered what would happen if people put their talents to work improving their communities. As a result of his inspiration, over 1.4 million men and women today are members of the world's largest service club organisation. 9,870 of them based in 575 Lions clubs in the British Isles. It was thanks to the support of the Canadian Lions and the intervention of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, that the first Lions Club in London was founded in 1950. Canadian Lions have provided invaluable support for children orphaned in the Second World War. To thank them and the people of Canada, the then Queen sent her equerry, Colonel Edward Wyndham, to Canada. He was so impressed with what they were doing for their community, he asked that the Windsor, Ontario Lions Club, sponsor the first Lions Club in the UK. Today, Her Royal Highness, and this is very much up to date, the Duchess of Edinburgh, previously Countess of Wessex, is a member of the Wokingham Lions and the Royal Patron of the Lions Clubs of the British Isles. The headquarters is in Birmingham. The 575 Lions clubs are divided into districts. And you notice here it's a bit of American because it was founded in America. We talk of districts and presidents. And we are part of 105 North. Our district covers Yorkshire, the northeast of England, and Scotland, with over 72 clubs within its boundaries. Our club was founded in 1977, and it started its life as Corbridge Lions, and then gradually migrated to meeting in Hexham in the County Hotel. Our nearest clubs are Allendale, Mid Tyne, which is Brighton, Ponteland and Morpeth. For the great privilege of being a Lion, individuals pay an annual subscription of £80. This covers the administrative costs of the club and goes to support our headquarters in Birmingham and the international headquarters in the USA, which means to us that 100% of funds raised by our events goes towards charitable purposes. Currently, our membership is 30, with an average age of mid-70s. So we do need some younger blood. Well, what do we do in and for our community? Apart from having fun, friendship and social activities, a lot of our lives individually are involved in local charities and good causes. Tynedale Hospice, RSPCA, Guide Dogs and other organisations. But as a club, what have we done? I think we're proud of everything we do, but probably one of the biggest achievements we've had in the last few years was establishing the men's shed. Working with Carbon Homes and Community Partnership, and with grants sourced from a number of organisations, the shed was opened in 2019 in the garden of 28 Derwick Road. The initial cost was around £20,000 for the custom-made shed and the tools, and the club covers the annual running costs. We currently have 2 4-hour sessions a week, although we have more as demand increases. The shed is well equipped and with excellent selection of woodworking tools, and is a really nice place to work. And if ever in the vicinity of Derwick Road on a Thursday morning, particularly, do pop along and see them. As well as providing useful activities, it helps reduce isolation and loneliness. Supervision and training are provided. The shedders, as they like to be called, made things for themselves, but we have also had commissions from other local charities and schools. Now I pass you to my fine colleague, Jonathan, who will give you a little bit more information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. I'll just step here so that Peter's got me on camera from the good side.
Turn around then.
Organisations we're involved with, apart from obviously creating our own men's shed. Big one is the West Northumberland Food Bank, which is an organisation that we've supported pretty much since it was founded, by donating food and volunteers to help. We continue to support by both monetary help and volunteers who help with stacking, packing food donations, and driving the fleet of 3 vans. Every December, Santa's sleigh takes to the area, bringing joy and happiness to our younger children. Now, as Ian told you, the average age of Lions is 75, mid-70s. So we're very, very grateful that the youth organisations throughout the area, throughout Tynedale, join in and do all the legwork. And for that, they generally receive a donation towards their own club funds. And the money that we have left over from that, we donate to local charities and good causes. We're currently developing a Young Leaders initiative at the moment to engage with the youth in the community. And we're working with Gateway into the Community, Hexham Youth Initiative and North Tyne Youth Project. This scheme allows or encourages young people to engage in community work with a view to help them realise that every individual can make a contribution. And periodically they will be awarded with certificates which gold, silver, bronze to represent the amount of time and effort that they've put into that. Tynedale Talking newspaper, you're probably all familiar with for people with hard of seeing. And we were, again, one of the first organisations to fund and support this wonderful organisation, and still continue to provide volunteers both producing the newspaper audio and also assist with street collections. We've also been happy to help transition Tynedale with the erection of an apple orchard on Tyne Green near the, forgot the name, cafe. Sorry? Cafe, thank you, Stephen. And also the wild garden on the Seal, and we generally support them whenever we can. Hexham Wombles, anyone heard of those? We're a super initiative and we are very happy to support that. So well done, Suzanne. One of the big national initiatives from Lions is sight and helping people who suffer sight loss. We collect glasses that get stripped down and sent to countries where they basically don't have any. But also in this country, we have a camera. I say we don't have one here in Hexham, but Lions UK-wide have a camera which can help detect eye deficiencies in children and flag up if they need to have a formal eye test. Now these are pretty expensive cameras coming in about £8,000, and we're hopeful our district will have one of these in the near future, and we'll get a chance to roll that out in this area. Now, I'm hoping that you're all well aware of the Tynedale Beer and Cider Festival. Yes, right. That is our biggest fundraiser, and this year will be our 22nd year in partnership with Tynedale Rugby Football Club. We work very hard each year to ensure that we can aim to improve on the previous year's festival. And we couldn't do it without the tremendous support we get from all the additional local volunteers that pitch up to help. The profit from the festival is split 50-50 between ourselves and the rugby club. Their share goes to developing youth rugby and ours to local charities and good causes. And over the past 8 years, our share amounts to over 200,000. We also try to support any international disaster where Lions International are involved, and most recently the Pakistan floods and Ukraine refugee aid. In these cases, there are Lions clubs close to the emergency, and so the Lions Club International Foundation funnels funds to those clubs so they can manage them locally to best effect for the disaster recovery. We're in the process at the moment of trying to get slots for collections for the Turkish and Syrian earthquake disaster. So keep an eye out for those. Now this is a crucial bit, and this is why Suzanne invited us. Our future. At the moment, our average age is mid-70s. We need younger people. And that is so that the good work that we believe we do can continue into the future. I think you'll all agree that sort of raising £200,000 over 8 years, that then gets fed directly back into the community, that has got to be worth perpetuating. So, if any of you know people, 60s, 50s, 40s, who might be interested, who have a focus on community activities, then please do pass on our contact names and information. That will be on its way around to you in just a second. And if you want to come and meet us, or if any of your friends or contacts want to come and meet us, we're in Hexham on the 29th of March at 1:30 in the afternoon, where the there'll be the judging of our Easter bonnet competition and presenting of prizes to children from the Priory and Gateway who've taken part in that. And that will be at the Gateway into the Communities cafe area on the ground floor, you know, the big glass bit. Yeah. So, thank you all for having us here to talk to you. Ian's going to come round with some leaflets which encapsulate what I've just said, some pictures and a list of the donations we've made in this current Lionistic year. Thank you all very much.
So, we're going to just, gentlemen, we're just going to do some questions, okay?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes, thank you very much, that's very interesting. I'd just like to know, do you have lionesses and cubs?
Yep, we have lionesses. Used to be separate clubs, used to be a lioness club and a lions club and a Leo's club. But now lions and lionesses are all one, but we do have Leo's club. We have tried over the years to establish, but we find it very hard at the moment with the education system being as it is, that the curriculum are so, what's the word, consistent, so difficult, that to have another layer that somebody has to stay behind to look after a Leo's club is a little bit we have to overcome, but we won't give up. And obviously the community initiative we've got with the Gateway and Hexham Youth Initiative, hopefully that might lead to something.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike?
I don't know if you already do this already, so forgive me if I'm taking on the suck egg, but at the beer festival where people are having a drink, if you thought about sort of going big with your sort of marketing and recruitment, maybe having some young people with boards and, you know, like a little area and then sort of pounce on people, and to do that anyway.
We have
Not pounce. Well, I mean, what I meant was you go to all those different events and there's some massive booths and have a massive marketing campaign.
We have now got a gazebo, and that's the other thing which we are doing on the 8th of April. We're having the site in the Market Square, the charity site, whatever you call it, for that day, again to promote Lions, but also having a second-hand paper book shop. And obviously funds we raise there will go towards a charity somewhere. Just one thing I'd like to mention about, because again, funds, people tend to think if we've raised lots of money, we don't see it. You remember the Morpeth floods? Lions International gave 200 and something £1,000 to the Lions Club of Morpeth. And because of their work, they got a commendation, Queen's Award, for service to the community. So it does come back if we need it. Thankfully, we don't need it. But it is there for, again, the local club to distribute it rather than just be lost in the ether.
Stephen?
I've got to say the joke. You must be you must take great pride in what you do.
Yeah, full marks.
One of the things, and others have touched upon it, it's how to get more membership, and I'm very conscious of the Quran at the back of the room here. I would like to think that the Quran would take on board what you're saying of a regular meeting time. I think we're coming out of COVID now, and particularly a lot of people with a bit more time on their hands and more concerned about getting out and sharing the fun as well as raising the money.
Yeah.
So we wish you all, well, I said we wish you all the success. I'm aware individually of your contributions that you make to Hexham Youth Initiative and others, and just congratulate you for what that you do as a group of people, but as individuals as well. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you both for attending. You know, I've known you, Ian, for many years. Jonathan, I've known you a long time as well, and I've always been amazed at the good work that Tiny Lions does all year round. You know, from the beer festival to the Christmas go around the streets on it for the Christmas time for the Santa sleigh up, which I attended with you. Before, quite good fun, I must say. But you know, just do the good work. You know, we try and advertise you as well. And hopefully you get some more.
But we're very proud to support council and work with this as well, so you know where we are. We want to continue that way.
Thank you very much. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Right, so let's go back
Excuse us, by the way, because we're now going to the lines meeting.
So we'll go to item number 1 now, which is coming to hear questions from any Hexham residents. Please.
Sorry, apologies for not seeking leave of absence for the last
You're a mess.
We'll see in 20 minutes.
Well, going back in minutes, even back to June 2018 and November 14 last year, when I asked for questions here in this session, it's difficult to get where the questions go if they don't get answered here. And at the October meeting, you said that the matters referred to the county and agreed that this will be addressed. But I never see anything in the minutes where this gets, which particular meeting that gets referred to in the county council. You know, I don't know if it goes by members, the county council members asking the question, or if the clerk writes to the particular committee. But I think it would be beneficial if people could see what happens to the questions when they get answered. I mean, you could go on the computer for ages looking to try to find out which meeting. It may save you a lot of bother me asking these needless questions. I think that's all I need to ask. See the drains have been done, and the rental toilets still in the place, which was 4 years ago. The drains are getting well tested today. Thank you.
Is there any news on the toilets by anybody? After getting done?
You know the date we get to, was it February, beginning of March?
Yeah, I thought it was around about now. Trevor, have you got any news on the?
Just for the toilets?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the price had to go to cabinet and all that, because it's all been agreed. St Mary's wine was costed up and came in acceptable pricing. So it's got to go ahead and should be starting very shortly.
Very short, that's all.
It'll obviously be the next financial year, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to say very shortly, well, it's nearly April now, so.
Yeah.
Can I comment there, Mr. In December last year, I gave you an email in which you were going to go to a January meeting, and they said that the toilets would be finished then, and they gave a price for doing it, but it's still apparently in the place for some reason or other. So it would be beneficial, I think, if people could see where these questions get answered, if the county ask the county council, whether it's correspondence from the clerk or some other means.
Trevor, I'm ready back in.
Yeah, I mean, county council, if you want to know first time, they have their portfolio holders and come to certain meetings, and the chap who deals with the portfolio for toilets, for instance, is in the Tynedale local area council, which is held the day after this meeting, so it's on tomorrow night. So if you, there's a public question time and that one, so if you, it's only once every 2 months, but I think it's on tomorrow, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
So if you want to ask and get it from the horse's mouth, as you might want to say, tomorrow night is the night to go for that. 4 o'clock it starts though.
4 o'clock.
And the portfolio holder will be there unless he's ill, and I haven't been told he's ill, so, you know, he will give you a direct from the horse's mouth.
Well, I thought it would be much easier for somebody to be put in the council's minutes, you know, so that we don't have to attend that meeting, so that it, well, probably attend that meeting, but where people could refer to it and look at the minutes of that particular meeting in the leisure, you know.
Well, the question is asked to be in the county minutes, and you're provided with a written answer as well.
Well, if in the minutes was said which county council meeting it was, because there's a multitude of meetings at the county council, you know. So if it was referred to that it's what meeting number 66 or whatever the title of the meeting is, I think it would give people a bit easier reference to see what was happening. You know.
I think you raised this though in November, October meeting, I can't be sure, because the computer's down there, but, and I gave you the dates, because it was within this year's budget, and it was confirmed, wasn't it, sort of, I mean, these best laid plans, things often get pushed back, but it is going ahead. I think the date was end of February, early March, I'm sure, if not April at the latest, is when the work is meant to commence.
Yes.
Obviously, it's been to cabinet, been approved, the cost of the toilet. So I mean, the fact that it isn't in stone is not a bad thing, but I remember answering the question specifically to say it was going ahead in the spring.
I'm an answer, but how do you convey that information to the county council? Do you see it personally at a meeting?
No, I ask.
You go to a meeting,
portfolio.
you go to a certain meeting and you ask that question.
No, I asked an officer via email.
Right, you see, there's no follow-on for the public to find out.
Apart from what we feedback, I found out a piece of feedback and feedback here.
Chair.
Ring opinion.
Yeah, I think Ronnie's got a point actually. And it's about the routes that we have to go through in order to get answers. So I would like to suggest that as part of the minutes we have, like we have with the committee meetings, an action point. So if it says, you know, that Mary has asked this question, then we should identify who is going to ask that question and follow it up.
Yeah.
And then it will feature on the next set of minutes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do anything other than raise the issue. It should be up to us to try and find some resolution.
Okay, right, we'll do that, right. Is that, right, so I think that question's been answered, is there anything to add?
Suggest if it's possible that updates are put on our website as well.
Right, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Right, any other questions?
Yes, I'll give that to you.
No. Good. Trevor, was there anything you wanted to add or you?
No, you're fine, I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. Right, apologies for instance.
And got Councillor Hartland and Councillor Ward.
Nobody else? No? Okay. Declarations of interest. Or to agree minutes of the council held on 13 February 2023. So I'll just go through those. So it's page 2, page 3. Are we okay with those last item? Yeah.
Yes.
Right, that's fine. Matters arising not on the agenda for report only, if any. Right, so I'll do the mayor's announcements now before we do the please. Are you ready to do your?
I think so.
Yeah,
Technology.
well, if you could put it ready. So I'll do mayor's announcements where you put up. So mayor's announcements. So you know, at the start, attendance of Holly Newton's funeral and Hexham Abbey within the month, very well attended, both sore sides, for to lose a 15-year-old girl. You know, you feel the heart goes out to that family who's been put through that, and obviously there's still on the court case and everything else to go with it, so that's still grieving. I am with Jez sort of working out some sort of memorial, just for Jez, like from Hexham Community Partnership, some sort of memorial approach that would be appropriate. I attended the opening of the Marketplace Coffee Shop, which is next door to Paxton's. So Claire Harrigan, who used to have a little stall at the market, has went from being a stall holder to become a shop owner, which is great. This is what we want to see. We want to see people test the market in the marketplace, and then move into premises and take that stepping stone in there. So that's great news. So we'd like to open that, and we wish her well to please make it attendance and maybe put some money through her till just to help her launch her business. We have the Net Zero Fair on the 18th of March on Saturday in Hexham, so we look forward to that. We have the Mayor's Reception where we celebrate all those fabulous volunteers that make this town so successful. We spoke today about the volunteers at the Lions who give all their time for free and generate all the money and all the good things for the town and make it a good place. So we celebrate volunteers there. So that'll be good. I hope if you are attending, please ensure Jeanette is aware. If you would please, we'll see you all there. On the 25th, we have our market stall. Is that still correct?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the 25th, so we've got our market stall. So councillors will be attending the market stall on the 25th of March. Open to all the public to come and see us. I'll arrange that with Stephen and get the market stall lined up. I think that is it. So, good. Right, so we'll move now on to number 7, which is to receive a presentation on the Hexham Play Zone consultation. We had asked a council officer,
Nathan Fuller from NCC, who's the engagement lead on this one, along with Kathy Keedy, who lives, breathes, works Hexham. They couldn't be here tonight, so I'm stepping in, so I'm very sorry for that. At the last minute, I will try to answer any questions you've got afterwards as well. I think I've got all the information, but please be aware that it's very much in process. So we're still meeting and talking to stakeholders, and we're meeting with the Eden Trust tomorrow to go over a few details to do with land usage and insurance and things. So the play zone was presented to us in December. Myself, Councillor Ward, went to the first 2 meetings with Kathy Keedy and Nathan Fuller, thank you. And basically, we were identified, there have been 10 areas in Northumberland in the first round that have been identified as areas of deprivation. And one of them was Hexham East. And Kathy Keedy, who is an all-round sports guru, daughter's an Eton teacher, etc. And is behind a lot of the funding for the 10 sports and things. She passionately believes in sport and giving young people a chance to run off their energy through sport. It's an equaliser, it's a leveller, it's healthy lifestyle, it's all of that. The one thing we don't have though, and Acomb has one, Riding Mill has one, is a play zone, a mugger in Hexham that is open access. We have them at school and their new booking system is up and running as of last week. It's not free, and part of my interest in this was to make an open access area for our children in Hexham East and clubs, sporting clubs as well. So I'll talk you through the slides. That's basically what play zone is. Now, so there's lots of different options, so nothing here is set in stone yet. This is still all out for public consult at the moment. So we're consulting on what is on the mugger at the moment, because the site that we identified and the stakeholder that was really keen was Hexham Priory School. So the Mugger will provide it, as it says, an outdoor space for sport and physical activity. Now it says it needs to be floodlit, but I'm still not sure at this stage whether it will be with its proximity to the houses, but that will come up later in planning. It can be a refurbished area in new development. Well, it's going to be part of the Priory's football pitch, which is right next to the Priory School and behind the Rocket Park in Hexham East. It says the locations to be decided by the community. Unfortunately, it couldn't be because there was only 2 real options for Hexham East, and the other one was not going to happen. But the design will be consulted by the community. We've rolled out that consult already to see what people want there. Already, it's got 1,700 engagements on our site, as well as being in WhatsApp groups, sports groups. It's been shared by email to residents groups as well. It's been shared with all the councillors. I'm presuming you all sort of talked about it or shared it in your network. Please do. The more response we get to it, the better. We're so far ahead in this that we're going for the first round of funding, which ends on the 17th of April, I believe. So Kathy's been an absolute whirl at getting this off the ground, and we've still got other stakeholders who are interested, such as Tanga, possibly Hexham First, and Youthy. So it's going to be funded by Sport England. 75% of that funding comes from them, through county, to provide this multi-sport venue. It's provided to help reduce inactivity levels for people in low socioeconomic groups, women and girls, people with long-term health conditions or disability, ethnically diverse communities. So 75% match funding is there. Hexham Town Council, through the 106 funding, has been asked to provide the 25% rest of the funding. Northumberland County Council are the lead applicant, but not the decision makers for each community. 16 communities have been identified in the county, but it's going to go through in 2 rounds this year. Yes, 14th of April and October, there we go. So it wasn't the 17th, it was the 14th. Hexham has pockets of decorated in the East End, which we know, which will be included and accepted by Sports England to be in the Northumberland portfolio. 2 potential sites were identified, as I've said, primary school and the middle school site. The middle school is disregarded. At this stage, there's elements of uncertainty about long time scale leaving. The Priory was the favoured site, and they've been at all the meetings so far. And it's also at the heart of Hexham East. It's right near the play area, and there's no access to sporting facilities. And we've got all that new housing as well that's gone in, lots of family homes in Woodlands, Woodland Rise and along. So it's a good location. So the school are prepared to take this on as a community asset and they'll help. So a number of factors still have to be agreed. So public liability, maintenance, insurance, those kind of things. So it would be like another bus taking on another play area, essentially, in Hexham. The school are considering security for the school, which is what we're talking about tomorrow at the meeting. And we would provide some cleaning and maintenance was the idea. The site survey will be taken by Sports England to reduce specification and give development costs. This will consider the activities identified through the community engagement that were wanted by residents. A programme of usage will then be drafted, which may include some free time and bookable slots as well. Planning permission will also be required, so again, that's back to the floodlight issue that is still undecided. And a full funding application will be submitted in April, October, depending on which round we go for. But as I say, we're up for April because we are super keen to have this. Community engagement, as I say, is underway to provide the evidence to Sports England and the Northumberland County Council that we wanted here, and identify the programme of use. The bookable time will not be manpower heavy, it will be literally a key code punch in and all sorted out. There's a booking system that comes with the mugger. And the flyer you have in front of you to promote community engagement, which we're going to do again on the stall. And I have sort of promoted this. Myself and Councillor Order are very keen for it to be a lot of open access, certainly in some holidays and things like that, for people of Hexham. I feel very strongly about this, and I think It's a great chance for Hexham. I don't think you stop playing because you get older, I think you get older because you stop playing, and I'd like this to go ahead. So, any questions?
Thank you, Suzanne. Right, so we look for questions, I'll go to Trevor, then.
Thanks for that, Suzanne. I've got a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, try and answer them.
No, yeah, I'm sure you'll answer them perfectly. I'm thinking of that site there now. There is an existing football site there.
Yes, there is.
Is it that one you're using or further along?
It's the existing buggy
existing-
field that the kids find.
It is that one. I did wonder.
Yes.
And also now, the grant site you get off Sport England is something attached to the floodlights. As in, they insist you have them where you
I
don't get
know.
photographs.
And actually, I would quite like floodlights. I think it can be done cleverly. I think with the Dark Skies League, I think that's a conversation to have later.
Well, you can get lights that shine down.
Yeah, and specific angles and away from
And
the
they go
houses.
just
and
outside the things.
And then we could also have a community pact where we only have 1 or 2 days a week to certain times.
However, you have perception of the problem is you get the perception of neighbours and that who think the light's going to be on their windows all night long. I'm just warning you.
And no, I know. This
Had
would
these
be
discussions
yours.
at Deacon quite a lot.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, it is what it is, you get to it. You mentioned that Hexham Council is going to draw down their 1 or 6 money, but it's not quite as straightforward as that because you have your 1 or 6 committee, if you like. So we can apply for 1 or 6 funding and hopefully we'll get it. And I would think we're in a strong position to say this is pushed through by the county councils who should be in this strong. I'm just making it fully aware that you mentioned by maintenance and lockup and online, booking systems. Is it going to be an online system?
Yes, it is. It's all.
And how are we going to access it? I'm assuming it's under lock and key, or is it?
It's a punch code. I want a QR code, but it's too fancy. But it's going to be a punch-in system for the people who want to use
It
it.
could, of course, be found out what the code is and be used by.
It'll change. It can change.
You're
So
gonna change
it
it
can be
when it
reset
is.
termly, weekly.
And you mentioned that the council's doing the maintenance on it, so is that like the visual maintenance, as in the
Well, it would be-
so if you don't look there, is a visual maintenance, spot something, and then report it to council, and then they get contractors in to fix the problems. Like if I talk about
Yes.
red ball,
Yes. All right.
speakers
Rec
on
and basketball net and things like that. Yeah, it does require a deep clean every sort of 3 years as well. And posts, bins, things like that.
Are we responding, right, okay, I'm going to finish on this one.
Yeah, go on.
So the money's being provided, it's up and running, it's all the sorts, but obviously you're going to have a money set aside. Is it our responsibility as a town council? Are we putting money in a pot every year, and then every 10 years we pay, say, I don't know, the flooring or
Well, there's
the
thinking
goal
funds
posts
for
or the netball?
the replacement of the actual polymeric surface that we're hoping to go for. It's every 15 years that needs to be replaced, and it's about 15 grand as well. Now, whether that would come from the booking system, because we would be charging a lower rate to community clubs. Some people would get it for free, stakeholders would get it for
It's
free.
something that's got to be factored
And that
into.
could be kept
Yeah.
for maintenance costs and a long-term saving fund for the
Absolutely, wonderful, thank you very much.
Jimmy?
Sound bloody great. But I'd like to ask, what area, how big of an area are we talking? Is it like, I don't know, is it the
It's
size
2
of a
tennis
football
courts.
field? Is it?
It says 2 tennis courts.
What does it? Right, okay, so the list of choices on there
Yeah.
are for things like 5-side for basketball, for netball, for tennis.
Fitness as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so no, basically I'm just kind of wondering like how many people might be able to use the area at any one time. So I just wanted to check it's not like one tennis court or something like that, because that means
No,
that.
I think it's
It's
sort of 5
really
sides and
limited.
into football.
But it does have like all those different lines and courts on, and so it can
Yes.
be booked at different times for different.
Yes, that's the beauty of it.
Brilliant. Yep, sounds good to me.
Steve?
Well done, Suzanne, you and Jan, well done for all the efforts. There's a couple of things that are problematic.
Yeah, there are.
If I was assessing this, Who is the applicant in this? Is it the school or is it the town council?
I finalise that tomorrow, but it's the Priory. We've asked if Sports England are happy with
I'm
it being on a
suggesting
school
it is.
site, and we'd be supporting that as kind of stakeholders.
Right.
So it's up to us and the Priory and possibly Tanga now and Youthy to kind of work together to see where the elements of the maintenance or funding or maybe this overall sinking fund comes from in the long term. And yes.
The problem is you can't commit funds from this town council. That's a
Yeah.
side issue. The 106 money is a bit of a problem because I've applied for some and got them, like Youthy and the skate park, and I've applied for others that haven't got them. And it's all about public access. And you're caught here between charging people and free.
Yes.
So it's a real difficult one, is this, and I'd suggest even having it free. And that's an issue in itself.
Yes, it is.
Floodlights complicate it even more.
Yes.
You know, it's almost a requirement. And for me, I've always looked at how other schemes have done theirs and got away with it. But putting floodlights up could be, as you all know now, could be very costly. Who picks that cost up? So it's a sound, generic, well thought out site and everything else that goes with it. Ownership, maintenance, public liability, insurance, all the niggly bits, all the unsexy bits that nobody wants to talk about, we'll tangle it up.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to untangle the next few
But
weeks.
if you get the ownership element, and if you, I know if you was to apply for this for 106, they would turn it down on principle because it isn't open access.
Yes. Yeah, all right. It's on, the Priory itself is on NCC land, not a lease anyway.
Yeah.
And they share costs of the lighting on that land, which is really interesting because I've been looking into that recently. In fact, NCC pay a lot of the lighting.
Yeah.
Priory paying some of it. So that's something we're looking at with NCC. I know obviously floodlights can be an issue, and it would affect revenue as well if we were going to charge. Obviously, you'd want to get people in through the winter to play, you know. So that is important, and I think we do have to charge a token fee for the clubs to at least contribute to the maintenance side of things. But yeah, effectively, it's that balance, isn't it?
It's a real difficult
It
one.
is, and it's
If
going to
you
be,
go for
especially if you've not
106
got it manned and it's free. How do you then move people out when it's the end of the
And
day?
then the lift up things to go underneath and then the maintenance.
Yeah, or they shimmy over the
Yeah.
top. Yeah.
But those are, for me, the ownership and how can you access 106 monies when you're charging? It's just an issue that.
Yeah. I know.
So I'm bringing Alison.
Yeah, my thought on this is that it's a great, the whole thing is a brilliant idea. My concern is with open access, but because there used to be the space at QE at the front where people just used to be able to use the front space for basketball,
Yes.
Viking Valley, Rose Gate, whatever. Now that's been lost in the West End. Is this potentially just going to be like almost like a satellite of the high school facility? Where it's bookable and you have to have the key code and everything. You know what proportion would?
Well, I actually have to talk about
a bigger proportion of it to be open access, especially if it's.
Oh, no, I definitely will. In fact, I tested out the QE's booking system at the weekend and chatted to their new person in charge of Hexham Community Sporting Club that they've got there, which is kind of a satellite of QE, as you say. We're not going to be, this is going to be separate with Priory, Hexham Town Council, and whoever comes on board. They're also now they've set up the booking system out to making certainly the back court free, we're hoping. So there's been lots of conversations about how it can be done behind the scenes. So I think it's just having sort of faith going forward and lots of discussions with the interested parties to make that happen. Because I do think a valuable space has been lost at the QE and the old QE and the AHS site to some extent. And that's why we need it here. And certainly Councillor Ward and I definitely believe it should be some open access. If not, half and half, some holidays and things like that. It needs to happen, really.
Any?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you, Susan. Can I just ask where this idea of charging originated? Because I'm absolutely with Alison that there aren't just completely empty, open spaces where people go and play tennis if they feel like it, or in Hexham anymore. And so what is the necessity to charge?
It's costs, it's floodlight electricity, if you've got floodlights, it's overall replacement of the polymer or whatever surface you choose, because there's 3 different ones here that we could choose. And that's a big cost for any one stakeholder to take on, so it can feed into that, it can be helpful, especially if it's clubs. Now, and knowing what people around us are charging, we can completely make that just covering some maintenance, so incredibly low token fee is what we could suggest going forward. I mean, these are great questions, these are all my questions. So I'm appreciating where the town council is coming from on this one very much.
Can I just ask? I was, it might be mistakenly, this might be olden days, under the impression that it was the county council's responsibility to provide play areas for children within their area. Is that not the case anymore?
Certainly put that to
Like part of playgrounds.
I mean, they're certainly feeding into this. The money's there, the conversations are there, the consult's being run that way. It's what we can get out of our conversations with them about providing it free access. But we will try. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there any further questions? Did you want to go to the?
I just want to, just a little bit, just to want to re-emphasise a point that probably didn't fully cover before, and that's just a consultation with the neighbours. I think we really need to be sure you do that, because they have to have their say what they think about this when they're just outside their door, possibly noise. Not
Oh, yes,
4 hours a
absolutely.
day, obviously, but
But a community agreement would be
especially
good.
footballers, we scream, I used to be a lot of five-a-side football, and
I can imagine.
a lot of us down the
It's quite
Scotch Fields who are
noisy.
quite away from a lot of cricket club, quite away from it, neighbours, so
I know you love the sound of
it's the
basketball.
bowling, it's the bowling shop, but if there's something to take into
Oh,
consideration,
no,
and,
definitely.
as I
which is
said,
why.
perceived image of light pollution as well, so ask them. We've done that, and some of them are quite supportive, and Jodie actually quite supportive.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, as I say, it's
If you
hitting
don't ask them,
1,800. on our
like
comms
social
alone.
things.
And so it's gone, we're going to take it to the farmers market and ask people to fill it in there. It's gone to number 28, they've got an open access computer there for people to feed in for the residents there. It's gone to at least 3 neighbourhoods in Hexham East have shared it in there into.
And
So
people
it's
that's going to be living next to
it, yeah, we really need to maybe knock on those doors before the council.
Just put a consultation pack through the door.
Yeah,
Suzanne, can I?
Yeah.
As parts of, well, I'm very supportive of it, but you can take a lead of what they've done elsewhere. I think that's the key. If it's been successful elsewhere, there is, as people are talking now, I think it should be open access, 100% of the time, because the management of getting the monies in, particularly the kids who've got no money to begin with, those are the kids you're trying to target, that don't organise themselves. It's a kickabout area, it's an adult playing area as such. That's the advantage of the skate park, for example. But I do think, in support of what you're doing, those that are administering the scheme should be telling you more of what's required.
okay.
Sure.
Right, so nobody else?
There's been a whisper in my left ear about toilet facilities.
But we did have that conversation. Storage as well. It does come with storage, there will be storage there. Toilet facilities, no.
No, there isn't.
It's a case of if you go to the Seal Park, I mean, yes, there's no really public toilets on that side of town, is there? No.
But there isn't in any of them, so
At school.
In the Muggers, I mean, the Mugger at Riding Mill's not near any
No,
toilets.
there's-
I don't know, Mugger at Acomb.
Is there not one in the pavilion at Acomb?
Yeah,
Just thought I was just passing.
yeah, no. I think we're just gonna have to be very well prepared to play football or do trampoline.
Yes, don't do it too much.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, so I don't think it was necessarily clear, just to what's being asked here. So what is being asked is, well, you've been given an awareness session about multi-use sports there. So it is going to go on a land next to the primary school, which is actually a land leased by the county council, so it goes on that county council land. However, similar to what has happened over the many years prior to many of you coming on the council, is that the play parks used to be the ownership of Tynedale District County Council, and then they were gifted to the town council. And when you get that gift, it all that isn't it's not great. It's because obviously you get the park, but you also get the cost, which is the liability of cleaning. You know, that's what the Hexham Town Council does now. We do all the cleaning and maintenance, the looking after the play parks. So this essentially would fall into, if it goes through, into the ownership of maintenance of the town council. So we would have daily maintenance of it, you know, make sure it's clean and tidy and all that type of stuff. And then the maintenance of it going forward, such as replacements and everything else. So I just want to make it clear that, you know, that is responsibility and accountability going to, that if this goes ahead and the town council, when it comes to us as a decision point, that we go into that with eyes open, that these are the things. So what was being mentioned there about the costs, and I do take the point, the principle of going like, oh yeah, just make it free, but if, for example, somebody said, right, I'm going to, you know, and you see them on the seal, etc., where they run boot camps, well, you actually pay the boot camp person, don't you? Now, if that person's doing a commercial operation on there, would you want them to do it for free? That's when you would go, actually, the contribution would be worthy of it. And if there was some sort of arranged club, you know, you're not talking a lot of money. You know, if I say 10 kids playing basketball is 10 quid for lights. It's only £1 a man, isn't it? It's not, you know, you're not talking a lot of money here. So, you know, I just think don't get too hung up on principles here. And maybe we're not talking about it being costs all the time. It would just be for organised sports. So there's loads of detail to go into. Questions that were raised were all valuable. Some of them we've raised in meetings in the last couple of weeks about this. You know, we're talking about like toilet facilities, changing room facilities, etc. They ain't built into this. This is costing a lot of money. You'd be surprised how much this is costing. We're going to tell you. It's costing a lot of money, this, but those facilities don't go with it. It's an approach and use. So that's what I'm trying to get over here, is that when it does come to us, it will be a case of like, we would have to be, as a town council, playing that part of, you know, cleanliness, maintenance, make sure the daily maintenance takes place, and then the long-term plan preventative maintenance of like replacement courts, etc., which aren't cheap. But it's it will be a valuable asset, and that's the balance. Is like going, do we want this valuable asset? How would it work? Would it only work with town council playing its role in that? So I hope
Can I
that's...
ask you a question?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've done these before,
Sure.
and it depends where the community asset sits. If the community asset sits with the town council, everything you're saying is absolutely valid, and it costs a lot of money.
Yes.
If it sits with the county council, I think that's where our support should come, to support the school's asset via the county council, and where a smaller player.
Yeah.
That's my view of it.
Yeah. No, it's a valid point, and it goes, you know, say for example, this did come across, and we said, yeah, we'll do the daily maintenance, and then they say in 15 years it needed a replacement. Of course, we could be going to the county council to do go right the 106 monies. We could be going, because the county council holds the 106 based on housing, and you know, all that money goes into a pot. But the likes of the town council will go, actually, that's sport, that money that's towards sport and leisure and all those types of things, we could access that and say, look, we need maintenance. You would pull some money out of that from maintenance. So you know, it mightn't be
You can't, I don't think you can get 106 money if it's not free to access. That's mine, and I've, you know,
I don't-
years of experience
I
there.
don't think it's as robust as that. I think we'll work through it, we'll find out.
But I'm only asking the question. I'm not
Of course,
taking it on.
no, it's a valid question. It's a valid question.
Why would we want to take it on if the county council were prepared to do it?
Yeah,
And they own the land.
but
They own the land.
yeah, but as every chance that they go, actually, that's not the deal. Because that's what happens with the play parks, is that we have to inherit the play parks.
Not always, Derek. Not always. I was involved with the play park that wasn't that.
All the play parks in Hexham are town council.
But this is something a little bit different. That's
Yeah.
why I think, Susan,
Yeah.
there'll be 20 of these schemes of people bidding. Some will be better than others. I doubt whether others will want to take on that responsibility of maintenance. And what concerns me, and I know we all think the world of you, but somebody wants to go on at 8 o'clock and there's already a group and don't want to shift.
Yeah.
You've got a problem there.
Yeah.
You've got a problem there, and that's just the practical side of sport,
It
or
is.
practical side of human beings.
It is.
So I think you should investigate it.
Yeah.
We are.
A lot-
But
a
no
lot-
no great questions, Steve.
All valid. Bring Ginny in and we'll close.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we could get in touch with Hexham and similar others to see what their arrangements are and how they are being managed in conjunction with county,
Yeah.
or are they separate? How are they actually funding their maintenance?
Right, I can follow that up.
So that's a fair
Follow that
question.
meeting, won't you?
That's me.
So you can follow that in writing mill and one which we walked past the other day, and I don't think that's the town council that.
It's definitely worth noting.
Yeah, no, it
Choosing
is,
a few of the
absolutely.
markets, then it just
How
gives
these
you
work.
more options.
But there's several taking place all at the same time, you know, it's like a phase 1 and phase 2.
We're quite far ahead with arts, which is
Yeah.
really good, a
So-
good sign, and we're getting good vibes at the moment from
So
councillors.
So obviously, you know, those questions will be, you know, all those questions will be probably the same questions that other parish intendants have got, you know, and we need to get a standard across as to what.
Do you know who else is applying?
Yes, but
Have you had any contact with them as well to see how they may address issues?
No, it's a bun fight. No, I'll have a look.
Susan, one more.
Just wondered if there was some scope for cooperation.
If we don't get 106, where's the money coming from? If 106 says to us, I'm sorry, it's not open access,
Well, without the money, we can't go ahead. It's simple as
so
that.
it's either we've got to be compliant with 106. That's a fundamental.
Definitely.
Very good, is everybody content with that? So it'll be coming back to us again, so that's just your first, like, look at this one. Lots of complications and things to go ahead, but, it's an exciting venture, we'll see where we get to. Right, that's number 7. Right, amazing next. Right, we'll go to the accounts. So, to agree, council obtained as listed. So we go to page 5. Oh, Trevor?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you were page when I stuck my hand up on page 6 when you get a.
All right, page 5, page 7.
How do you know I haven't got one in page 7?
Page 6.
Well, this is clarification. I actually think I know the answer to this question, but just in case I've got it wrong. So I think Penny will probably answer this question for me, actually. It's Amy Hemmings-Grown Hexham. Is that grant money that we're using there? Because I did miss a meeting in, so I might not.
Yeah, so all the money that is being spent on Grow Hexham have either come through the Space Live fundraiser, or we've also got funding from the National Lottery. So it's.
I thought that was it. I was just checking because I did miss one of those meetings.
Yeah, but I have asked, and I think it would be good that at some point this is resolved, because that needs to be recorded somewhere. Because actually there has been quite a lot of grant money on fundraising or whatever you want to call it that's come through the accounts, and I think it's just recognition that we're looking at other sources of funding.
Can I just ask one more question then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chair, which is about the I presume it's a CO2 detector on Tennyson House. Is that wired in CO2 detector? you've got Henderson House and Jackdaw Plumbers, isn't it? But I could have got that wrong. Maybe they do all sorts.
That's the middle. and then
Supply and
it's-
installation of, what I'm assuming is supposed to be CO2 detector. Is that wired in, is
The
it?
lodge.
Yeah.
It's wired in electric. Because I thought one for the raffle was 22 quid, that's the reason I'm asking, that's all. But I was,
Just the other one.
I was a battery one, so no, I just thought it was quite a replace, but it was wired in, that might be it. I
Yeah.
would have got electric, man, so it might be electric.
Right.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, page 7. And the next one is page 8. Okay. Good. Right. Right. Item 10 is to know the draft minutes of the committee meetings held in February. So this is the planning and infrastructure, page 9, on the 14th February, and page 10. Page 10, the community engagement on the 18th of February. Page 11, and page 12. And the finance and general purposes on 27th February, page 12. And good. Good. Correspondence.
Very much the usual. Now for e-news, chief executives, bulletins and events can e-view Northumberland CBA support services e-bulletins and job trustee vacancies. There's also letter of thanks from Tyndale Hospice at Home. And also a letter from NCC with regard to the Coronation Community Fund. Also another letter from NCC with regard to the devolution deal. And I think about the Rural Services Network seminar.
Right, so that's good. Right, so.
Jeanette, what time does the merge reception start?
7 p.m.
And it lasts to what, 10 is it?
10, yeah.
Thank you.
Right, so the next item, which is number 12, just for a matter of procedure, as you know, we agreed a staffing committee the last time. But it's just a matter of procedure about putting the persons on the committee. I'm asking that can we, following the clerk's advice, can we have an urgent item where could I ask the council to agree to suspend standing order section 9 to allow consideration of an urgent item pertaining to staffing committee. So could I have that agreed for the suspension? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so basically we did discuss this, but this is just to formalise it. Is that the membership would consist of me, Derek Kennedy, Dave Holland as Deputy Mayor, and Penny Brennan as the 3 members of that staffing committee. Is everybody content with that? Yeah. Okay. So that will become official. Yeah. I think was anything else? Nothing else?
That's it.
Right, thank you so much. Sorry, Brad.
Excuse me. As a slight follow-up to that, obviously that we have lost one member of staff last week, I think, or certainly
Yes.
in the last few days anyway.
Yes.
So do we have actually any idea when the...
Yeah, I can give an update on that. Actually, that's the one thing I was going to do. That's the other thing that did. So we put an application out for a cemetery worker. So the job application was out and that expired on the 6th of March. And we've had 4 applications in. So myself, and Penny, we've looked at those and we're going to do the interviews. We just need to book a date for you.
We hope to get them in by the end of this month or next month? Or?
we'll interview this month, and then, you know, and obviously try and get them in as quick as can.
Okay,
Yeah. And also for the job of the finance and projects officer, we've had 4 applications in, and they've been similar. We know we'll be working on the
Okay,
interviews for that, and trying to get the persons in quick. Right.
With regards to the cemetery worker post, we have discussed the possibility of offering a post as an apprenticeship. Is there any update on that?
No. We've got to listen with all the main first.
Is it just worth, just for the minutes, to sort of say standing orders are now re-established?
I'll check what I'm supposed to do with it.
Yeah, I deliberately like close the grid at the very end, so it's landlords, just so possible.
Am I able to just say for the record, thank you to Michael for over 30 years of service to the town council, at the cemetery and planting throughout the town. So thank you very much to Michael for that. And best of luck in his next position.
Indeed. Very good. Okay, is that all right? Okay then. Right.